Hi everyone, ready to catch up on last week's top trending news? Let's jump right in. At last week's hardware event, Apple revealed the iPhone 17 lineup, including iPhone 17, 17 Pro, and the Pro Max, as well as the ultra-thin iPhone Air. The event also introduced the Apple Watch Series 11, AirPods Pro 3, and a reworked UI with enhanced performance, camera improvements, battery life boost, and health feature refinements. So this is basically the Christmas day for Apple fans everywhere. You know that every year you're going to get a new iPhone version. You're just trying to figure out what features you're going to get and if it's worth the price jump that it's going to be. Exactly, and worth getting day one. Exactly. And I think that a lot of the things that people saw they were excited for, especially with the new AirPods and the language translation in so many languages. We've seen that already last week when it comes to the vision, but getting to actually hear it is more intuitive in my opinion and more discreet. Despite the fact that it was a hardware event, however, people were still asking about Siri, which of course is the AI model that Apple has not really announced anything beyond saying that it's coming. There will be one, but people's like, okay, if it's not here at a hardware event, when are you going to announce something? Exactly. I think we'll be hearing about that until they actually give us something new. But until then, overall, it was definitely a successful event as far as building up excitement. And there were a lot of pre-orders even from China. So yeah, this will be a big launch for the next series of Apple products. California's legislator passed a bill that would require companion chatbots to follow safety protocols, ban sexual content with minors, disclose to users when chatbots are AI generated, and offer notices or warnings when used by children. The bill is now waiting Governor Newsom's signature and would take effect on January 1st of next year. All right, so we have seen a lot of stories, unfortunately, with minors, interact with these chatbots, and when it comes to content about them harming themselves, and the chatbot interacts with them in this context, it unfortunately doesn't have a positive ending. So I can see why there has to be some accountability when it comes to these AI companies allowing, or rather not having any, controls when minors interact with these chatbots, especially when they're very impressionable. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we just did a report that Meta actually didn't have very strong moderation, if any at all, for children having relationships with chatbots. It was actually allowed. Yes, it was actually allowed and considered appropriate. And then you have things like character AI, which adds it to a whole nother level, because then there's actually a face to the bot that the users interact with, and then it makes the children or minors more likely to overconfide and trust these chatbots, including results that don't end so well. So I think that many other companies shouldn't even have to wait for a bill like this to do something about it. They should actually go ahead and create stronger guardrails for minors. Agreed. Microsoft will diversify its AI dependencies by integrating Anthropic's models into Office 365 products like Word, Excel, Outlook, and PowerPoint, alongside OpenAI tools. So this marks a strategic move away from relying solely on OpenAI. So thinking about last week's news, we covered that OpenAI was going into, a competitor for LinkedIn, which is owned by Microsoft. And this seems to be now pretty much escalating this idea that, both companies are moving away from solely relying on each other. In this case, Microsoft saying, rather than having a reliance on OpenAI's models, we're going to introduce Anthropic's models to power up their Office suite. Yeah, and I think that it makes sense. I know they have a unofficial contract now that extends their partnership, but beyond that, I think that OpenAI probably sees more opportunities if they work with, let's say, Apple, which they've already done with, the iPhone series. But then there's so many other companies that may or may not use it because they are worried about maybe Microsoft having that data. And so this kind of frees them in order to kind of move away from this non-profit model that they have now to being able to monetize the data they have and use it freely with other companies. So now we're seeing, I think, a natural shift away from each other that to me makes sense for both companies. I think this just emphasizes that fact that, okay, don't think of OpenAI and Microsoft and vice versa. Right. Well, that covers last week's top trending AI news. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this week's news, and don't forget to like and subscribe.